going to give us the ability to negotiate, but we're in a huge time crunch, and there are no other bidders. And while some may say they have a monopoly and we're being held captive, it is a fair bid. We analyzed this bid, and it is a fair bid. But we want, on behalf of all of us who are taxpayers in the quarry, to get the best deal we possibly can. But we can't wait another 3 months to find another vendor.
And so I think the motion would be subject to negotiations to try and recognize unit price savings with the understanding that the district has the right to either enter into lump sum or terminate negotiation in its discretion.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Just on the point of the unit price, I've taken a look at phase one. The numbers I'm having some difficulty with because if you add up the original loan amount was about say $3.5 million. Net of the charges that we had to pay for issuing the debt, which is around $278,000, we netted about a little over $3.1 million. My original look at this thing was the original contract with Metro was $2,685,000. If I added in what we spent so far on the stone, we were up someplace around 3.6, 3.7, which means we were above the original amount of the loan. So I was a little confused with that, but then today somebody said to me, the original contract included the stone. That basically was carved out. But if I carved that out, we still paid about $1.9 million to Metro for the work that they've done, plus $1 million for the stone. The original deal was supposed to be 8,700 linear feet. They've only done about 4.5 on the linear feet. So we paid $1.9 million. We were originally supposed to get 8.7, so we got half. So I don't understand why we paid so much more, except that are we paying by the hour? How could we pay so much more?
No, we were paying by the ton of rock. The problem was...
No, you were paying by the ton of rock, but you also had a contract with Metro to install it. The installation, based on the new numbers, would have been around $1,930,000.
I believe the installation for Metro, and Josh can comment on this, I believe the installation for Metro was also based on the rock that they had to install. So they still installed the same amount of rock. They installed the amount of rock that we thought was going to complete the project. The problem was because of the sinking of the rock into the mud, that rock.
So if we calculated out what it was really costing us for Metro on a linear foot, I'll guarantee you it's probably more than we're paying for quality based on the contract we have today.
That was a unit price contract.
As
As
a
opposed
fully
to lump
loaded,
sum.
right.
Yeah. And there are other mitigating factors to remind all of us. One of the huge mitigating factors was the time that we contracted. All of the contractors, for the most part, were busy repairing everybody else post-Irma. The dust has settled a little bit now, and we had no choice. The CDD perhaps could have opted for a lump sum, but if we are reminded none of us were here, then we were out there with everybody else. It was a $6+ million contract because we were being held captive by supply and demand based on Hurricane Irma. And now, as we look at what are the reasonable prices that should be paid, well, the work was deficient, in my opinion. And in my opinion, it's about 30% off in terms of quality. And I think we have 30% of whatever amount we're paying needs to come back to us. My opinion. That price was probably a more market price, as you compare it to today's market pricing. And when at first, as we look at Dragonfly versus quality, and then how disparate those prices are, one would ask, what is the market price? But when you look at the methodologies and the quality of experience, licensing, it becomes apparent why one is more than the other. So I'm saying all this to say 1.9 million, if we go with a lump sum, is a fair market price. But we just want to make it a little better if we can. Because we all pay.
If we think we're not going to use that much stone, we want to try to not pay for stone we don't use.
Do we have any obligation to Metro at this stage of the game, number one? And number two is, what happened to the holdback? Has the holdback been released?
To my knowledge, everything has been paid out. There might be some minor amounts still left in the construction account from interest earnings or what have you from the last couple of months, but yeah, I mean, and that's gonna, I mean, those are just, odds and ends, things at the end of the contract. But to my knowledge, both Metro and BG Mine, they've all been paid everything that they were due. And we're no longer waiting, we're no longer looking to us for any more money. So, one thing I'll also remind the board is currently we have at least one bank looking a lot more like it's just going to be the one bank. I know the last time I talked to Clark, he had a second bank that was interested, but he doesn't have as confident a feeling with them that they're willing to go. But he said the one bank that he has been talking to that is very interested in doing the deal is always competitive in all the other deals that he does. Everything up until this point, we've been basing off that higher lump sum amount, thinking that that was our ceiling. So the good thing is the board still has the ability to go forward. If quality decides not to negotiate, or not willing to negotiate, they want, the board still wants to go with the lump sum, we've kind of already got the financing set up at that lump sum amount to go forward. They're just waiting for us to give them the final word that this is the amount of the contract, and then they'll start putting together all the sheets to actually get a kind of a lock on that deal. So I would also recommend if we are going to negotiate that we do that as soon as possible so that we can get the bank going, because the bank's going to take a couple months to get all their stuff together and get everything out also.
So further discussion?
Yes.
We're talking about the contract here, and I just want to raise one question. And that is, will the contract require a payment bond and a completion bond in favor of the CBD and for?
Yes, by law.
Avoid all the damn problems we had with the first deal.
And we still hold the performance guarantee, performance bond on the first contract. So we still have that in our
Has
possession.
any demand made on the control there?
Excuse me?
Did you have a performance?
Yes.
Has any demand made
Yes.
on it?
Yes. Yes.
What's that mean?
We're going to hear that later in the,
You'll hear it.
it's on the agenda. But by law, any public works of this size, has to have performance. Sure.
Those terms discussed.
My next question relates back to Wes. If Wes, you can outline for us what the sequence of steps are beyond the negotiation with Metro, that is time-wise. Where are we in your best guess with bank financing and/or commencing with work, so we can understand the critical path sketching that we can have to finish by November 1st?
So when you say negotiating with Metro, you mean quality?
No, quality.
Quality, yes.
Okay, so I think probably the two biggest steps that need to take place, and I think they can go on a parallel course, is advising our financial person, Clark Bennett, estimated cost is of that project, or if not estimated the actual, assuming we successfully, arrive at a price. But either way, I think it's going to be an estimate if we do the unit price scenario. We want to know the high end, and then we would need to put together really two documents that would be exhibits to these resolutions. One would be a document describing what the district's project is. In other words, what is the project that's going to be paid for out of the bond, secured by the assessment, and then also an assessment methodology, which is a document that Special District Services prepares that describes how the assessments will be levied against the benefiting properties in the community. Once the district adopts those resolutions, there is a minimum of 30 days that needs to, and it's going to be more than that, but the district needs to give a 30-day written notice to all property owners within the boundary of the district. The district also needs to publish a copy of the resolution and a map and a notice of the public hearing for levying those assessments. So typically, to allow time to get the notices to the paper and to allow your management time to finalize and send out all the letters, it's typically you allow 45 days from the date the resolution is adopted before you would actually schedule your public hearing to levy and impose those assessments. Then you later hold that public hearing. At that hearing, you adopt the final resolution, which levies and imposes the assessment securing those bonds. While all that is taking place, your financial person, Clark, will presumably be working with bond counsel to put the bond documents together. So either around the same time or shortly thereafter that you impose the assessments on the property, you will be in a position to issue the bond and obtain the financing for the project. So hopefully it's something that you could accomplish, like I said, on a parallel path in a couple of months from the date that you kick off the process. And before you can kick off that process, importantly, what you'll need to know is how much you want to borrow to pay for the project, the maximum amount you'll want to borrow to pay for the project, and what that project is.
Anything else? I motion that we establish a methodology as described by Wes for the establishment of the lump sum contract and potential negotiations as he described with Paul.
So as a chair, we need another board member to make a motion to accept.
Stan, I think,
Well, Stan needs a motion to accept Dragonfly's resignation. We now have a new motion on the board
accept a contract from two provisions. A, and I'll make that motion, move that the contract be awarded subject to the condition of funding, and B, that Quality Engineering will be willing to contemplate a unit price methodology or an alternate methodology to allow room for negotiation. And as Wes stated earlier, with the provision that the default would be that we still would have the option to accept, as C, the option to accept the lump sum as bid originally. And
I think it's on the person.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? That motion carries. I believe also in order, similar to what Wes was saying earlier, would be a motion to appoint a board member to accompany Josh in negotiations with Quality, should they be willing to negotiate, so that we don't, so that we can get that process started as soon as possible. We have a motion of a representative.
well, before we move, maybe we just discuss amongst ourselves who might volunteer to do that, and I think we need to discuss that amongst the four of us.
Right now, I'm working with Josh on the estimating for the phase 2, and also working with some phase 1 work, so we can have a good number for the bond issue. Stan's working on the negotiations for the Phase 1 reparations with the contractors and as well as other issues. So those are two primary responsibilities that are on the table with two members right now.
I would know, work with Josh on that. He understands the lake as well. Might have a little more ability than I do.
All right, so we have
I'll nominate Bill Pfister.
we have a motion to nominate Bill Pfister to be the board representative with Josh to enter into negotiations on a unit-based contract with Quality, should they be willing to negotiate, or, I'm sorry?
Or fixed. Yeah.
Or a fixed fee, right? We have a second? We have a motion and a second.
And Quality Enterprises is here. If you have any questions, we're going to leave after the vote, so if you have any questions.
Not even now.
Yes.
Who was the representative? Oh, there you are. Do you have any questions?
No, we're ready to start when you guys are.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
I
All those opposed?
would hope that that could be done in one short meeting. Let's hope we can get this done.
I have a question that I think won't be objectionable to Wes because it's not negotiation. The question is, your original scheduling chart in your RFP document is now going to be compressed. And is that something that, if we don't get a start date for another couple of months, what resources or plans would you have to still meet a deadline of November 1st?
A couple of months have been tough. I mean, I would hope that we can get something ironed out in the next month.
Yeah.
I want to plan for the worst, hope for the best. And if what we just heard our attorney counsel was on, it's a 45-day.
However, look, there is a caveat. Wes, this is Tim again. Once the bank has agreed, while the bond counsel is working on the issuance of the bonds, it's my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, that once we have secured funding or at least a letter of agreement from the bank, I would assume that QE could get started. I don't know what the terms of payment are, but I don't think we have to wait. Oh, we do have to wait? Okay.
Yeah, we do not want to officially sign a contract obligating the district to make payment or anything until we actually know that we're going to have those available funds to make the payment.
So we have to move very quickly on the parallel path to get this financing approved.
Yeah, so I think what you'll probably want to do, and I know it's the next topic on the agenda, but under new business discussion regarding financing for phase 2, but in your next meeting, I imagine you'll want to have Clark come to you with, hopefully he'll be able to get a term sheet from at least one, maybe both banks, on what the terms of a potential bond issuance would be, and also in that same meeting, if NCS can have a methodology put together for those amounts, and also we need a description of the project, which we essentially have from the RFP process, that the district can also approve those resolutions to begin the assessment process.
Could the representative from Quality identify yourself?
Yes, Louis Goyo, Vice President.
And you have no further questions or comments on what's transpired today?
I'm sorry, and Louis, I couldn't quite hear your last name.
Gaudio, G-A-U-D-I-O.
Great, thank you. And I'll let the board know, what I will do after this meeting is I will contact Clark and let him know that we've approved the quality contract, subject to the conditions, to go ahead and let the bank know that right now that loan is I would imagine the higher end, and see if they can go
Well,
ahead.
and before that's done, because I think we need to have the discussion under H1, because I know I at least received one question about project, which would include the quality contract, but also the construction manager contract and the quality assurance manager contract. They also include an estimate for the repairs to phase one. And those amounts also need to be included in the assessment aspect of it as well. So before Mike, you leave with this meeting with that communication with Clark, I want the board to discuss that issue to determine, what should be communicated to Clark with respect to the expectations on the amount of the bond.
Yeah, there are 3 additional items. So 3 additional items that are going to potentially cost us, the repairs to phase one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's actually 5, 8.
Okay. Enumerate all.
Well, we have the construction manager, we have the quality manager, we have contingency, we have SDS costs associated with phase 2, we have legal costs associated with phase 2, we have miscellaneous costs associated with phase 2, and I can't remember
The money, finder's fees, and
Yeah, I'm about to say, but things like the SDS cost, that's all part of the normal closing costs, the cost of issuing the bonds. Those are already, Clark already goes for standard closing costs. The main numbers he's going to need to know are the actual project costs. So that would be, the amount to quality. If we're going to, do we want to use lump sum as a kind of worst case scenario? Do we want to wait till after to see if negotiations are fruitful, come up with a slightly different amount? And then we need the other 2 contracts.
actually, there's 3 contracts.
The quality.
There's a quality manager, construction manager, and testing,
Okay.
and contingency. You got that contingency.
Contingency will also be built in, yeah. So those are the numbers that we need to know. So we need to know, Clark needs to know a total project cost. And if we're gonna throw in the unit 1 or the phase 1 repairs, we need to know all those costs. That will determine how much we gross up the bond for closing costs. Because some of those closing costs are based on dollars of construction.
You will not know phase 1 repair costs at this early stage for this project. There's no way you're going to have a settled amount to include this bond.
Well, the question is, Stan, do we take a best guess to include it in the bond cost so that we can minimize future bond issue costs? Because we're paying,
Get it done once. I'm in favor of it. I just don't want to make anticipation of something that's not here yet.
But again, that's that question. If we can include, so Wes has verified we can. So we develop a number, and that is my problem right now with that. As we stated in the last meeting, Josh Evans has resigned. And effective May 20, we no longer have an engineer of record for CPD. I'm in the process right now trying to find one, and I'm not able to find one. The primary goal, establishing an estimate, an accurate estimate for the phase 1 repairs. Because we have a set of work that needs to be done to repair all the phase 1 defects. What is the cost of that? Number 1. Number 2, which we are in the process of negotiating right now, is what can we get from the phase 1 contractors to help pay it, either in total or in part. So if it's in total, we pay nothing. If it's in part, we have something. And if we get nothing from the contractor, we pay the whole thing. Now, we pay a set cost for bond issues. And it's a big number. If we have to go again to the well, it's going to cost the quarry owners, including myself, at least hundreds of thousands of dollars. If we can estimate it now,
Use the microphone.
If we can estimate it now, even from a ballpark standpoint, we can include it in this bond. And so we have a pot of money there. If we need the money, we take it out of the pot. If we don't need the money, we pay, we just leave it in the pot and say to the bank, thank you very much, we don't need that. So that is an option that we have to consider. Do we do that? And it all depends, again, on what the total cost of the phase 1 repairs are, number 1. Number 2, how much we potentially could or could not get back. So that's an important question that we need to answer. Additionally, if we can get everything now funded, we now have a mechanism to pay a contractor, which means we can get a contractor involved in the phase 1 repairs and maybe even have the same contractor do both phase 1 and phase 2 repairs. concurrently, right? They're on the lake, they're gonna do this part, that part, and they're gonna jump over and finish phase one, the phase one repairs. Does that all make sense? So that's what we're trying to do now. My problem is trying to get an engineer of record established that can accurately estimate the phase one repairs, so we have an accurate number for the bond issuer that they're comfortable with. So I just want to let everyone know that's what we're working on right now. But back to my question to Stan, the question is, do we have enough firepower in the quarry to come up with an estimate that would be accurate enough, high enough, that we'd be comfortable with it, so we can get the total amount funded now and then move forward as we get a new engineer. I've made several contacts, SDS has made several contacts, so far negative. I called another company yesterday that was highly recommended by Heritage Bay, haven't heard back from them. So I mean, we are making efforts to try to find an engineer of record, but so far nothing, and the engineer of record is going to be key in obtaining an accurate estimate for the phase one repairs.
What, John, have you come up with a ballpark? We won't hold you to it, but what might be required in terms of dollars? I have a number, and it's based only on statistical projections of some dollars, and I'll throw the number out, but I'd like to hear from you if you know, if you have a guess.
I don't want to say yet. I provided some information last week to George.
Okay.
And so I think very quickly we'll have that.
On the advice of council, we were advised not to request that at all. Jared is engineering.
Let me ask, had the homeowners associations had an engineer from that look at? Could we go back to that?
Already have. They refused. They declined. We're talking about Terrell Hall and Associates.
Well, there's
No, ECS. ECS is not, it's not.
They're-
engineering, they're testing.
Right.
They're
Terrell Hall was contacted and they declined the opportunity to estimate the phase one repairs.
Did they give a reason?
They're too busy.
Where do we go from here?
Well, I mean,
What is, Wes, where do we go from here?
Well, I mean, it's a decision for the board to make. The question is, everything that I discussed with respect to next steps, obviously, is contingent upon knowing what is being paid for, so we know how much we need to issue. So that's why I raised it, because does the board want to figure out how a way to try and get
you say that's okay, Wes, then I'll be happy to work with Josh on that, because I'm already working with him on the Phase 2 estimate. There's no reason then why I can't work with him on the Phase 1 repair estimate as well.
Let me just, it's Bill Blister, let me just throw one more thing on the table. I mean, if we come up with a figure, an estimate, and we build a little cushion into it, and worst comes to worst, the key factor here is you're gonna save having to do a Phase 3 and the expense of having to issue another bond. Worst comes to worst, if there is a shortfall, and it's not a big number, couldn't that be added into next year's budget?
Yeah, and so